million.
Crypto.
The United States will be the crypto capital of the planet.
We're all together. We're all one.
Okay, where's the gold?
For the first time in the human race, we have unleashed a freedom virus.
Oh god, why are people listening to me? I'm just a guy.
Welcome to the Top Signal Show, where we break down what's trending across crypto, spotlight the latest trading tools from OKX, and chat with some of the sharpest minds shaping the space. I had to.
I love the new mic.
It's a new mic, so I had to scare Kamsky on
We love it. We love the crypto ASMR.
unadulterated.
This is-
unadulterated ASMR.
This is a bit of Elizabeth lore for those that have been around. You've probably there's been a series of crypto ASMR videos. Are they gonna make a comeback? Is this what we're gonna be? Are you gonna be discussing this today?
I feel like the meta has come and gone, but I don't know. I will say, like, I am a personal fan of ASMR. Like, one of my favorite videos ever is the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis tour of the White House, and her voice is just like chills, such ASMR. Something about women from that era, from that turn of the century. They had this very like wistful, very charming, very calming voice. But anyway, now
We
we
need
have a new
the
mic,
genre.
so we better sound.
New genre coming up.
Yeah. But quick legal disclaimer before we actually dive into things. Everything on this show is for informational purposes only and reflects our guests' own views, not necessarily those of OKX. This is not financial advice. Crypto is risky, so always do your own research. I'm Elizabeth Olsen, Director of Marketing at OKX, and I'm joined here with Kamsky, founder of Mood Labs. Kamsky, what's good? How are you doing?
I'm really good, and I see the chats popping up already. People are asking, "Are we cooked?" Well, I don't know. We need to find out. We need a lot of answers. It's been, I'm really excited about having today, and I know that I mentioned there was going to be a little special guest appearance. Yeah, of course, we're having Coker on the show, but we're going to be introducing a new member of the team here quite shortly. You will all meet Mochi for the first time, and this is an OKX exclusive. It's the first time you will be seeing and my little Mochi. So yes, stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's a special episode.
Can't wait to meet him, her. I love the name reveal.
Yes, indeed.
Alpha right there. That's alpha right there. Welcome, Mochi. Oh my goodness. Are we gonna get a Mochi reveal?
Are you ready?
Oh my goodness.
Are you ready for this little
Hello.
kitty?
So cute. Oh my goodness.
She eats and
Oh my
sleeps.
goodness. Chat, what do you think of the name? I feel like the name is so perfect. Mochi, absolutely adorable. Well, what kind of mochi? This is like the rice dessert, right?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
it's bean paste. There's like a bean paste flavor. There's like a matcha flavor.
Yeah, it's
She
rice
looks like a
based.
little
I like the ice cream mochi. So, yeah, Mochi
yeah.
is here with us for the first time. So,
Yeah.
this is a little
Oh, we're doing a
mascot.
cat
It's a little mascot of the show. And by the way, for those that are tuning in, yes, this is a market show and we talk about very serious crypto things. But today it's a very, very special episode, and you will be meeting the mascots that are powering the OKX show, Top Signal, Meet Momo, and Mochi. They're the masterminds behind. And I guess before we, yes, this is a bring your pet to work kind of day today. But, a little bit of cuteness before, we get into the nitty gritty of things. I want to show
The
you
not
some
so cute trench situation.
exactly. I was trying to make it soft, and kind of, a little bit better for you all because I have a chart to show, and this is the BTC chart. It's been correcting. We've been, last week we said that, I think like it just passed below 100K, and now BTC is trending and trading below 100. And yeah, we might see a sign of, maybe some oscillation here, but at the moment it's been in a free fall, and people are asking, is the bear market over? We've seen a lot of outflow from ETFs that have also launched recently. We have a Solana ETFs that launched a few weeks ago, and so a lot of people are wondering, what is happening right now in the market? Is the 4-year market cycle based on Bitcoin still into place? There has been a lot of debates, basically just wondering whether the fundamentals have changed due to a big capital inflow coming from institutions. So far, we're here right now. Is it over? We don't know. What do you guys think? Chat, if you have some more, positive outlooks. Ideally, we bounce. Hopefully, we keep going. And this is pretty much the state right now. But besides that, I was looking at Google searches, which is actually a pretty interesting indicator as well in terms of how the number of people that are searching for crypto on the internet, on Google, and this often is newcomers in the space, is people that haven't necessarily are not on Twitter. And so we've seen the crypto searches trend at, bear market lows at the moment. There's just some data. Is it bear market? It's not, it's just a point of information that I thought was interesting to bring up. But, at the same time, DevConnect is happening right now. And this is one of the biggest crypto conferences from the Ethereum ecosystem, and the vibes are high. I've been hearing, we're not there, obviously, we're here with you all, but the vibes have been high, and we're preparing for conference season. There's a series of events that are going to be happening in the crypto space, in the coming months for December and so on. So there's going to be a lot happening. If you're new to crypto, if you want to learn more, if you want to get into the community, meet the builders, meet the companies behind, go a little bit further than potentially just investing, you will find that there's a whole ecosystem out there that organizes events, meetups. OKX is one of the great companies that organizes incredible events, and I know, Elizabeth, you have a bit more information on that, and I think can you give us more?
Yeah.
Do we have some
First of
alpha?
all, I think that's like such a good thing to highlight right now when we're seeing Bitcoin at all-time low. I mean, we've hit, I think, like 89 at one point. So I think we're hovering just around 90 now. But yeah, it's definitely concerning. But at the same time, I think it is refreshing to see that there are still like crypto goes on, right? TikTok next block with Bitcoin. So the price may rise and fall, but the industry is still here. It's not going anywhere. There's still plenty of IRL events ongoing right now with very strong backing of partners, of attendees, builders in this space. I think some of the best projects are built in a bear market. And like I myself, I feel like most of my crypto professional career has been built through the bear market. And I do think it's important to remember that during this time, like to zoom out and look at things from a big picture. And even just zooming in, I just yesterday was able to host the Cornell Blockchain Club at the OKX New York City office, and it was just so exciting to see, like, wow, there are universities all over the U.S., at least I'm sure globally, that are teaching about blockchain technology and really prioritizing that as part of the course for the students. And it's a very rigorous program to get into. They have their own conferences, dedicated conferences. They have one in New York City apparently every April, where hundreds of people come out from all top partners and representatives, even from Web2 companies like Google, participate. So it is really exciting to see that the core Ivy Leagues are integrating crypto and blockchain technology as part of their courses. This is going to be educating the next generations and of some of the most brilliant talent in the US and beyond. And also, I think we just saw that Harvard tripled their Bitcoin position to $443 million this past week. So if that's not a bullish sign, I don't know what else is, just to see that, some of the most, most well-informed people and investors and Ivy League educational system in the US is still investing in Bitcoin despite some of this volatility. That's just what it is. If you have a new asset as it gets adopted over time, it's going to be volatile, but it will eventually become less and less volatile as it's adopted. So yeah, I do think it's good to see some hope amidst the volatility.
I mean, we've come a long way, right? It's not, at the end of the day, you have to also zoom out, especially when you're investing in crypto. This is a very, like Elizabeth saying, this is a very volatile asset. So you need to make sure that you have a plan for what time frame you're going to be investing. If you're looking for a quick profit and tomorrow, it's a very, very risky play. But if you zoom out, you see that, we've come a very long way. Is it going to stall here? We're going to keep going. So far, the bullish trend that started here in 2022 hasn't been invalidated. So technically, we're still going up. If it's going to cross these levels here, we might have to reconsider, but we have like a pretty good way to go. So this is something that, I know sentiment is very important in crypto, but at the end of the day, it's good to zoom out and make sure that you focus on what's happening. And there's always going to be a bull market somewhere. So one thing that was pretty interesting also is that meme coins tend to be way more volatile compared to majors, but they've been holding quite well. That Aster and Hyperliquid and Hyper, they were, looking pretty good. Let me bring up some charts here.
Right. And even as Bitcoin goes down, it's interesting to keep an eye out for what coins are performing well against Bitcoin's weakness, right? There's actually been some coins that have surged while Bitcoin went down. And I actually have a friend that made 40K because they saw that, oh, this ICP coin is going up while Bitcoin goes down. Let me get in. And it continued to show some strength and resilience. It's since rescinded a bit, but it's really interesting to see that there are still possible ways to make a bag even when Bitcoin goes down. There's been some more inflows with alts. Sol saw $43 million inflow, and XRP also saw $243 million inflow with ETFs. So It is really interesting to see how there are alts, and yeah, as Kamsky just said, there are also meme coin plays that are still at hand. So um, yeah, so okay, this is ICP, fantastic.
Yes.
Um,
ICP, by the way, is it's not a meme coin. It's actually an infrastructure product that connects Bitcoin to other chains. And they've been, they've been powering a lot of the projects that have been building on Bitcoin. So there's a whole ecosystem on top of Bitcoin, and ICP has been working with some of the most well-known, pretty much, brands. So this is an infra play, and you can see here. Let's see, there's no narrative for now, but it seems if you look on the OKX Dex, you can see the vibe score. It's pretty high. This is a solid project. So, up to you. There's enough plays for whatever taste, risk appetite that you have. And there's different narratives that, keep playing in, there's, yeah, exactly. ICP and Near look good They looks good in terms of price action. Exactly. There's a lot of plays that are pretty much there. Another fun tweet that I saw that I do have to bring on because I thought this was like pretty hilarious. You know how Polymarket just seems to cover like some of the biggest news. Apparently, McDonald's is seeing a record surge in job applicants as crypto market continues free fall. Is this real? Like, I'm not sure if this is real. But is this, are these crypto people? Who's applying? I'm curious. Are you guys applying to McDonald's? Is this where crypto is going?
That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, McDonald's all-time high. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've seen more and more people like doing comments and stuff. Like everybody's dressing up like they're working at McDonald's and doing, mimetic gifs and little visuals and stuff and comments. And I'm like, oh my goodness. There this actually does make sense now of Poly Markets confirming this is an all-time high for job applications. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Absolutely crazy.
that's absolutely wild. And then also another thing. So last week we mentioned Neon raising $1.5 million for his token, which has launched. There's been a lot of let's say like FUD happening for this token. This is what the chart is looking currently, and I've actually spoken with Jake from Thrust, the founder of the Launchpad, on which Neon decided to fundraise and then launch his token. And we had quite an interesting conversation about, outside players, people that have very well-established companies trying to enter the crypto space and sometimes finding themselves having to deal with a lot of hostility towards them, community not necessarily being very welcoming. And this is something that it's a conversation that's important to have. And at the end of the day, we are very much going to all benefit if we create a very inclusive and welcoming environment. And I'm not saying, gatekeeping is necessarily a bad thing, but when you are bashing and you're being unwelcoming to new players, it can be a little bit tricky, right? So I do want to see, obviously, this is what the chart is looking for. I don't know what you guys think about it, but let's see. They've announced that they have some other celebrities that are going to be pretty much launching some coins in the near future. It's unfortunate the market is where it's at. It's when you're launching a coin like this, you're basically swimming upstream. So yeah, not a great looking chart, but regardless, the team is planning on onboarding more people onto CT, and maybe expanding a little bit the reach of our ecosystem, which is always a good thing. And I know people are saying, oh yeah, I see here McDonald's, here I go. Yes, well, hopefully we still keep to we can still be here.
Oh gosh. Hey, but you know what? As we do on the show of Top Signal, we do always call in the right Calvary for the right days, right? So I feel like we've honed in on the ultimate perfect guest for this time to give us some perspective. I know, he's obviously, we're bringing on Cooker today, guys. we need to cook some alpha. We need to cook some hope. We need to cook some excitement for crypto and the trenches. So yeah, excited to bring Cooker very soon. I do want to give a quick shout out, by the way, to so far everybody, all the guests that we've had on the show. It's been the most all-star lineup. We've had Mert, we've had Dan Held, we
Murad.
had
We opened with
yeah, we had
Murad.
Murad. We opened with Murad. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, it's just been an insane lineup of guests. We're so grateful for everybody that's been on the show so far. And then obviously we got Cooker on today. And so far we've had over 100K views and 720,000 organic impressions. And so much of this is thanks to the Clippers. So mass big shout out to all the Clippers out there. Breeze, Scotty, Theo, Tig, and our very own Max Mood. Thank you so much for just watching the show, hanging in with us and clipping. I was tweeting the other day. I think like making a clip is like fishing. You know, you're out there, you're chilling, you're having a good time in the ocean, in the sun, you're vibing with us here on the show, and then we're gonna bring you the best fish, the best catch of the day. We're bringing on the top all-star guests here who are gonna help cook us and catch us some bars, right? Catch us some really interesting takes and in some cases breaking news. We had Luca Nets last week who
Announced the
shared with us that
IPO. They're planning on IPOing.
yeah, announced that a Pengu IPO,
breaking
right?
news.
Crazy. So company, yeah, amazing news to hear. So we're really excited for all the hot takes with our guest today. So without further ado, today's guest is someone who's gone from complete unknown to one of the most watched crypto traders out there, founder of Pastel Alpha, known for his no BS market takes, insane meme to meta callouts, and a trading style that works in this market. If you're in the trenches, you've definitely seen his charts, his threads, and his wins, P&Ls. Welcome to the show, Cooker. Let's get Cooker up on stage. Absolute mega goat. We are so thrilled to have you here, Cooker.
Welcome.
Cooker.
Welcome. And see, it's
What's
a
good,
cat.
Cooker?
It's a cat day. I knew it. Today is a cat day. You have the cutest
Yes.
hyper.
That's quite an intro.
G meow. G
Gee,
meow. Wait, do we need to bring our cats back? Cooker, I know you've got a pup, which we can't see, but what kind of pup do you have? What kind of dog do you have at home?
I have a corgi. His name's Dashi.
Oh, we love corgis. They're so nice. I love how they just like wiggle their tails. Like I live in a neighborhood where we have so many of these. Oh, do I need to bring Mochi back?
Hi, Cooker. Hi, Cooker. Okay, she's over it. But Cooker, it's so awesome to have you here. We are just thrilled to we've been wanting to have you on the show for some time now, and it's just really exciting. I feel like ever since your crazy, insane docs at our Alpha Summit out in Singapore, it's just been wild. I think everybody's been wanting to know like who you are, like what was that experience like when you doxed? It just went absolutely viral on Twitter. It seemed like people went crazy, wanting to take selfies with you, wanting to find who you were, knowing that you were going to be speaking and going to be doxing. People were making all this content about this. So what was that experience like to be doxed in Singapore?
It's very interesting, very humbling. Obviously,
Yeah.
I have this like Twitter persona, but I don't ever kind of imagine people, quote unquote, wanting to meet me at these kind of events like that. Most of the time, it's more so like just talking business and the markets. But ever since like doing it, it's very cool to meet people who want to take selfies and introduce themselves. Like, oh, I've been a big fan. I'm from this country. I work on this project. We meet a lot of like cool people. Even outside of Singapore, when I went to China and when I went to Vegas, meeting people out in the street randomly was very surprising. I didn't think people would recognize me like just out in the open, but that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I loved talking to a bunch of people. It's very tiring. I'm not really a extrovert in that kind of sense, but yeah.
It's been it was such an incredible event, and I think there might be. I mean, we might have some other OKX events. Hopefully, we'll see you guys there. I know that there's going to be
Yeah.
Elizabeth's cooking some pretty huge day in our Art Basel. Yeah, I think that's going to be. If anyone is in Miami for Art Basel, definitely reach out. And I'm hearing just a email sound. Is it you, Cooker?
Hear my telegram. Oh, give me
Maybe
Ooh, maybe it's a telegram.
I'm hearing
We
some
are hearing
noties.
some pings.
Yeah. I could. Oh
Um,
no, all
no,
good, all
actually,
good.
Kamsky, that's such a good point. Like I do want to mention, like, obviously we have a million questions for you, Cooker, but I do want to ask you, are you planning to come out to Art Basel?
I don't have solidified plans right now. I don't love Florida, but there has been a couple people that did ask. Because it really depended on what my team thinks. So up in the air right now.
Dude, okay, well, maybe we can convince you because just last week with Luca Nets, we announced that we are going to throw a banger event. It's going to be called the Mild West Casino Night. So, because we know you Gens, we know you guys like to gamble, know you guys like to have a good time. So, we are throwing an Alphas Connect event with Pudgy Penguins. It's going to be at a private villa out in Miami during Art Basel, December 3rd. So save the date, everyone out there. We love to see you there. We're going to be sharing the Luma invite very soon, so you can apply to RSVP. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting. We're going to have some kind of similar to our Alpha Summit. We will have a trader demo of top KOL traders sharing us some of their favorite tools on OKX. And of course, we will also have a DJ, we'll have food, we'll have drinks. We're going to have a screening of our very own Mild West film, which is like Hollywood top tier level. It stars Vincent Cassell. It stars actually somebody from The Godfather literally helped us produce it.
Oh wow.
So it's a really top tier show. Yeah, check out the trailer on YouTube. It's fantastic. So we're going to have some silent disco style screenings and then casino games, 3 hours of casino games. So a lot of fun to be had with other fellow on-chain traders and founders in this space. I think it's going to be pretty much the crypto event of Art Basel. So definitely make sure your flights and hotels are booked around December 3rd. So we'll see you there. But Cooker, definitely would love to have you out. But it's I understand Florida can be a little hot. So
But back to obviously having you on as a guest. I think we've been speaking. We met in Singapore as well, and like you came really in the spotlight because you have one of CT's most iconic arcs. You mentioned obviously your journey. Starting from having a very small portfolio and just bringing it up to 9 figures, right? Like how does one do that? What was the turning point? What were the factors that really made you succeed and get you where you want? And, I want to hear about mindset as well, about habits. Like what are the things, that got you to this position where you are now? And I can imagine it's years, obviously, of work, of just determination. But yeah, just want to hear your story pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it's not 9 figures, more like 8, but yeah, I think as a kid growing up, I've always been kind of like very resilient to, I guess, problems and issues in my life. And so when it comes to trading, I've always taken that kind of pursuit. I enjoy obviously like this competitive nature of trading in this market, whether it's a bull or bear, whatever it may be. I kind of treat it like a game. Mentality wise, I'm always one to kind of be like a workaholic, and so always have something going on. Trading against other people obviously makes it very, very competitive, and it's one of those like few sectors in the world where you can really benchmark yourself and your performance against others like directly. Everything on your wallet says everything about you, and I tend to only trade on my very known wallets, so everyone can pretty much see what I do day to day. In that sense, I mean, obviously it has its ups and downs. Whenever you sell something, everyone else kind of like tends to sell with you, and that makes your like profitability worse. But yeah, I think I've always kind of adopted this kind of like work hard, relentless pursuit kind of mentality.
Do you think that that's something that, because I remember going to one of the Alpha Trader Summits and Mr. Million also sharing his journey of, basically just having tough situations to navigate growing up and this having such an influence on your development that ultimately becomes an asset, right? Like you turn your challenges into your biggest gifts in that sense. Is this something that, when you look at other traders, do you feel that because you've had such a specific and, upbringing and this shaped you into the person that you are today, into the trader that you are today, are these qualities that you have now transformed, obviously, are these something that would be impossible for someone that hasn't necessarily gone through the same life experience as you to have? Is there hope for other traders? Because obviously it's all about emotional, right? You have to manage your emotions pretty well. Do you think that it's something that can be trained or you just need to be, go through certain things in life?
I think in general, I want to say that obviously anybody can kind of do what I've done. It just takes a lot of like dedication and time. While some people, it takes a little bit more time than others. I don't think it's like impossible. Although there is a certain grit factor, I guess. I've gone through obviously the rock bottom that anybody can really go through, barring, you know, other godly events. But for some people, especially in this space, I've noticed people tend to just give up at the first sight of struggle, and I think it's really common. And that's not something I feel like that's not something you can really teach someone to kind of quote unquote not give up. You kind of part of it is like a little bit of life experience,
The
and
resilience.
It's grit.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of grit. And I mean,
Perseverance.
some people obviously you need like a mentor to kind of like push you to not give up at the last, the first sight of like a dip or something like that, especially when like trading you lose for maybe like a consistent week. People tend to give up really quickly in this space. And I don't know, I guess it does translate to a lot of things in life. Some people are just not
100%.
cut out to like for physical activity or something like that. Everyone's kind of different.
How do you discipline yourself to have that grit? There's actually a really good book called Grit: The Power of Perseverance by Angela Duckworth. It's one of my favorite books. I remember I was reading it while I was trying to study for the GMAT and just like reading all these stories about different outliers who, despite everything stacked up against them, they had grit to persevere and work through the different blockers in their lives. Could be anything from becoming a doctor to becoming an athlete to, in your case, becoming literally like the best trader out there. So just kind of curious, how did you have that perseverance? Because everybody loses at some point. Everybody um is going to be, stuck at a crossroads where they have to make that choice of whether to give up or to move on. And I remember one thing that helped a lot of people is like they set a timeline for themselves, like, hey, by this date I'm not going to, hit this benchmark. I'm going to, cut the ties, cut my losses. So I'm kind of curious, what are your sort of principles when it comes to grit?
To me, I mean, one of the main things is failure is not an option. I've kind of gone through that all my life, especially with like how much financial turmoil my family has gone through, like, early on when I was a teenager and a kid. That's kind of like something I've promised myself that I'll never kind of go back to. And so having that kind of mentality, the past 10 plus years, that's just kind of like what I adopted. Obviously, growing up, I had a very, very strict parents. My dad was very, he pounded in the idea of like, you never want to like show weak emotions and that kind of stuff. Um, so in that sense, I've taken that to everything, especially every job that I ever worked, everything when it comes to like financial grind. I've just always had that mentality, like failure is never an option.
I mean, it is right because if you, at the end of the day, if you transform it, everything becomes these. You look back and then you see that these experiences are your biggest strength and your biggest assets. And I'm sure that everybody in the audience can relate at some point in their lives. you've gone through, and maybe when you're in the midst of it, it might feel an impossible moment, but once you're out and you look back, there's always growth, there's always an opportunity, and everything is there for you to improve, and you can really turn everything into, an asset, your superpower. So, you obviously have one of the most successful alpha groups, Pastel Alpha. How do you look for alpha? And how did it start? What are your techniques, especially now in this market, right? Like where do you look for alpha? I think people want to know.
Right now, it's just kind of following trends as much as possible, whether it be on Twitter, TikTok, or any other social media. A lot of it's like, obviously, there's a lot of it's like just brain rot. So keeping up with that, keeping up with everyone else in the chats, keeping up with my team and their research, whether it's like NFTs, coins, legitimate projects, raises and listings and everything in between. Always have news outlets open. Always have the blogs open. Always have Twitter open, Telegram, other Discords. Keeping track of like old projects in the past, airdrops, just a million things open at all times and constantly.
How many screens do you have to have
Yeah,
so
I was
many
gonna ask.
things open at a time? Like,
I
do you have each screen dedicated? Like, this is my blog screen. This is my mainstream news. This is my TikTok screen. How many dedicated screens do you think a trader needs to be successful?
I think every trader needs at least either 3 screens, a 1x3, or like an ultra wide and a vertical one. That's probably like the standard go-to. I mean, some people are like absolutely correct and they use one screen and one screen only, but I can't. I personally like to like organize everything. Like my right screen has a couple Discords open and Telegram, and then my middle screen has like the quote unquote main stuff. I have like 40 different tabs open, and then left screen is everything else, quote unquote.
And then you have a team, right? So those screens are they stack up at the end of the day. You have more eyes. What's one of the trends that you've been currently looking at?
Right now, I'm kind of focused between, obviously the perp dex mania, or the residual mania that's happened a couple months ago. Obviously, I have exposure and kind of still looking at the equities portion on chain, especially with Hyperliquid and HIP3. So have a little bit exposure to that and keeping an eye on that. I know like the other day, they just hit $100 million in volume, and I think 9 figures in volume is, in such a short amount of time is very impressive. And so keeping an eye on that trends. Meme market right now in the trenches is obviously low volume, so as far as that, I just kind of have it open, not more so an active participant, but yeah, those kind of 3 things.
Yeah, Cooker, I remember during the summit, you actually shared some of your favorite trading tools that you found to be super helpful. And I feel like everybody, one of the biggest questions of the day is, what tools do you use? Like now we have your ultimate setup, and it's so awesome to hear like, okay, how do I physically set up my space so that I can have different tabs open and have the right platforms available to me. And then yeah, as Kimothy mentioned, obviously you do have a team. But then when it comes to like actually getting on a trading tool like OKX, which you use, what are your favorite trading tools? I think maybe I'll go ahead and share my screen as well, just to show the viewers, as we're talking through what you like, what trading tools you like to use in OKX. I can find them for you as you mentioned them. But I remember you specifically said Signal, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just taking a look at the screen that you just shared, it really is just kind of like signal and tracker. I think not trying to find too much information a lot of the times is important. Just condensing like your view. I think the smart money is still pretty, relatively consistent across any kind of market, whether it's like high volume or low. Obviously, you have your own customized tracker as well, but the fact that like OKX kind of curates this for you makes it very easy to kind of like look, especially when not everyone can spend all their day scanning scanning new pairs and sitting there. Having something like a smart money or influencers and whales to show up on Signal, it's very useful for most people.
Yeah, I so agree with that. It is like, obviously I'm a director of product marketing at OKX, and I'm not able to sit all day on, meme pump and see what's trending necessarily. And I do feel like this is kind of my cheat sheet to be able to see, okay, what are smart wallet addresses that have really strong P&Ls? What are they buying? And how many of them are buying it, and what percentage have they sold so far of the tokens that they bought. And it is really cool to see like this tool has caught a lot of trades very early. So for example, 76 was caught at 14 smart money wallets. The alert went off at 1.9, and there was a 34x from there. So it is really cool to see. Obviously, I've also, lost. You don't always win, but here's another one. Ace.
To be honest,
Crazy, crazy.
overall,
148.
I've made good money on Signal. Honestly, not to be honest, just like blindly buying whatever the whatever the Signal would give me, and overall, net positive. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
And what I like as well is that you have different chains as well. You can obviously DJ on Solana, but you have, you can go on Base, ETH, whatever you
Right.
want. It's
Here's
they're all
BNB.
aggregated there, so it's pretty cool. Obviously, these
Yeah,
memes
super
don't go
helpful.
past. Don't expect your meme to survive. You have to babysit your trade. Like, this is not an overnight kind of scenario, obviously. So just be aware that it can go very quick in this kind of market, right? But still, if you have some moments, just keep it open there on one of your screens, and you will catch some fish. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty fun.
Definitely important to keep an eye on this. Like, obviously, if you get an alert and it's like 15 minutes later when you saw the alert and the smart money wallets have already been selling, just be smart about it. You have to, I think what's helpful is this tool gives you all these different ways to track and different things that's important. Like, for example, Cooker, like what kind of coin would you buy? Like, would it be okay, I would only buy if I see 6 smart wallet addresses and maybe only up to 10% sold so far, and the coin is XYZ? Like, um what are some sort of things that you would keep an eye on as you're taking an investment?
Yeah, so when it comes to Signal, it's not more so like I don't really like follow a specific criteria in terms of metrics. I always tell people a lot of strategy and a lot of numbers and metrics. If it's something that you can quote unquote automate with a trading bot or some kind of due process that you create, it's more than likely not a great strategy. I kind of use it more so as information. So, when it hits a certain threshold, 3, 4, 5, 6, however much smart money, it gives me at least an indication of, take a look at this rather than, just like scanning it myself in the first place. Sometimes you can pull up like weird buys, and then you see a meme that you think is like kind of trending. So like, for example, I think one of them was like the quarter zip meme that's been going on, that's been happening. And I was like, oh,
Interesting.
yeah, I've seen
Right
that.
here. Yeah.
I've seen that on TikTok. And, it's become like, I think, what is it? Like, I think it's the trends going on with like the younger generation and maybe like finance bros, and wearing a quarter zip is like the new trendy thing to
The
do.
new
So,
Patagucci.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is such
I love that you get the AI insights, you get the vibes, so you can kind of see who's tweeting about it
yeah.
and when. Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
so
cool.
something like that, once you're made aware of it on Signal, and you're like, oh yeah, that's been a trend. Naturally you just be like brain rotting and scrolling your phone sometimes, and you don't really, it doesn't really completely register, and then you see a coin for it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, totally. Because then you're like, oh, I've seen this here, here, and here, and then you put it all together like a puzzle. Okay, this is like definitely trending, especially if you see something on TikTok. By the way, yeah, what have you been seeing on TikTok lately, that sparks your interest? Like, how do you know when something is going to translate from TikTok to crypto Twitter and trends in general?
Yeah,
coins in general.
my TikTok feed is it's a little mix of everything. Obviously, it's like a
Who do
mix.
you follow on TikTok?
Who do I follow? Well, my TikTok feed is not like CT personalized or like
Right, because it
crypto
can't be.
personalized.
If you're so deep in
It would
CT,
be all
then how are you going to
XRP.
find the mainstream what's trending? Because what's
Right.
trending could be in fashion, could be in art, could be in music. So how do you know who to follow, and how do you optimize your TikTok to be able to find these new metas?
That's a really hard one. I think like my TikTok is kind of a mix of like obvious random brain rot, motivational stuff, some random like funny stuff like podcasts and
So I
whatnot.
bet you got morning routine real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I think it's like it's weird because I think they recently did what is it, the TikTok Creator of the Year award thing, and it was the dude that does like this career ladder, where like people guess at a career, he's like stands on a ladder or whatnot, but he has like 9 million followers, and most of the people were like, oh my god, like who is that person, and
I've
people
never
were
seen
kind of
him.
people are like expecting, the people that does like skits and like dances and whatnot. But it just goes to show like everyone's like feed is so different from one another. And I mean, my mine is a mix of everything. It's just like some of it is obviously like my music interests and whatnot. But yeah.
About music, I saw Jet 2 Holiday there on the Signal trending. How is that still? I'm shocked by how far this song has gone. The virality, it's insane to be honest. Back to crypto a little bit, because we opened up the show talking a bit about the market. We looked at Bitcoin. There's obviously a big debate happening right now. People are wondering, are we still in a 4-year cycle? Is this a bear market? Where are we at? There seems to be a lot of confusion. And I was wondering, like, what's your take on it? Where are we at in the market?
I think it is weird. We're at this point in the market where there's obviously like max fear. I don't personally think there's really a 4-year cycle anymore. And I read this very amazing thread. I'm kind of sad I didn't bookmark it to reference it back. But I read a thread last night about how the explanation of the releases of AI and specifically ChatGPT back then, when that kind of happened, it kind of like broke many of the price action between the 4-year cycles, which is an interesting take. But going through the graphs, it's very very evident that, especially with institutional involvement and how everything is like rapidly developing, I don't think we'll probably have 4-year cycles anymore. Everything is a lot more condensed. We saw September being a very high volume month compared to last not the previous years. And so in that sense, I think we'll probably not see 4-year cycles anymore. Probably maybe 2 years or 3 years going down the line. I don't love how the market's going right now. I always say that volatility, creates a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people, and when there's a lot of volatility, whether it is up or down, it's not good for you know the little guys and everyone else to be trading.
Well, last time Trump was in office, markets were also quite volatile. So he's definitely playing with the news, and we're still waiting for, I think, some tariff announcements that are going to be coming after, if I remember correctly, after Thanksgiving. So again, expect some moves. This is just what happens when Trump is in the office. So yeah, but
Which macro signals are you looking for right now, Cooker, when it comes to like US politics and just ETFs, just broadly, what do you think is something that people should keep an eye on these next weeks?
I know like everyone kind of follows obviously rate cuts and everything. Me personally, right now I'm just awaiting a lot of earnings calls from like top phone 100 companies. Obviously Nvidia has their call today. Um, I keep an eye on the unemployment rate sometimes, especially in the U.S. I think that's one that's very important to to have a broader sense of like how the American population is doing. But other than that, I don't really keep up with too many metrics. I take a look at gold sometimes because I know it's a hedge for many people. Um, Other than that, yeah, just normal rates.
I mean, it's interesting,
Makes
right?
sense.
Like crypto's been correcting, but we have stocks, hitting all-time high. I think Google's hit 320 today. There's also people on the other end that are saying that OpenAI may miss earnings and is going to be pretty much signaling the burst of the AI bubble. But yeah, Google indeed it's all-time high today. So yeah, let's see. Honestly, there's we've seen Tether as well make some like pretty massive investments in AI robotics. So everyone's trying to catch that AI wave, crypto included. And for now, I mean, we're steady. We're here observing the market, and I don't know. We're also coming close to the end of the show. And I was wondering, if you had some words for the audience, any advice for anyone looking. Yeah, it can be anything.
Yeah, just I guess two things. In the broader sense, I think people should still be focused and very keep their eyes on AI. Whether it be investments or just stock or investment seeds or just stock in general. Especially like you saw Anthropic the other day take a deal, which puts them at 10x the valuation that they were last year. And even though we have concerns with like the AI bubble popping, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think next year, going into 2026, is probably going to be one of the biggest years, um, financially for that kind of sector, and how it relates to crypto in general. I know things. I always say things are like very cyclical, and so when we have times like this, we're almost guaranteed to have like more opportunities going into the next years. We'll have another, quote unquote bull cycle. I don't think they're like this short where we have like 3 months of bear and then 3 months of bull. But I always advise people to, look in the long term, trade for the yearly horizon. Don't focus too much on the price action of the week. Focus on the stability of things. Like I always say, chop is good. If we hover around 89 to 95K for like 2 months, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think that would be great for trading. But for everyone that's trying to like work on themselves financially or education wise, I think always pay attention at these times when everyone else isn't. They always say like buy when others are fearful. So
Interesting. So is that why you would say hovering around 85K is actually bullish for traders? It's a nice entry point.
yeah, like 80, like wherever we drop to, right? 80K, 85K, or we go back to
We're
100.
at 89 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so long as it's stable in the weeks, in the months, I think that gives people confidence. Like once
Mm,
once the fears kind of like dissipates and people are like, you know what, this is the new norm. Like you just sit there and you just accept it. And I think once
yeah.
the acceptance part happens, that's when the volume kind of comes back and you start seeing opportunities. And same thing when it happens when everything goes up, right?
Totally. Well, Cooker, I know we're about to wrap up soon, but I do have one last question for you. You had this really beautiful rags to riches story essentially on your pin to the top of your account about how, from your childhood, you didn't grow up with like the most the most stable conditions, right? At one point you said you were even technically homeless.
Mhm.
And since then, now you have this principle of you won't lose. And just kind of curious, like just to leave a picture for those who are, in situations of where they're fighting for it, they're trying to make a bag, they're trying to make it work. They want to, everyone wants to eat, right? So just kind of curious what's it feel like on the other side? You've made these almost 8 figures, you said around 8 figures. Um what's it feel like? And what surprised you being on the side? And has anything really changed for you and who you are as a person?
Um, yeah, wow. I mean, it's a big question. I think what's it feel like on the other side? Obviously, there's less quote unquote struggle. Well, not really, but per se, different kind of struggles, right? I want to tell anybody that kind of struggles with things financially. Looking back at things, probably breaking out of financial struggle is the easiest part in life. Everything else, when it comes like boils down to like mental and emotional, I think those things are much harder to break free from. And so, while it is probably hard in the moment, I want to let people know that financial struggle is not permanent. So long as there's a will, there's always a way. No matter what, even if you're starting from zero, there's always opportunity, especially in this day and age of like the internet. Um, but yeah,
It's deep,
I
bro.
also I
That's
always
amazing.
I always say that don't be so fixated on money. I think while it does buy you convenience and temporary happiness, you will never find fulfillment in it. And obviously, I've went from 0 to 5, 6, 7, uh, 8 figs, and I could tell you that money does not buy happiness whatsoever. It's just more of a vehicle and a means to an end. And yeah, just keep a healthy detachment from it, no matter how far along you get. I think it's important for everybody.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Anything that you want to achieve in life, there's always a way. So you have the power and infinite information at your hand, at your disposal. We live in the age of AI. We live in the age of Claude, open AI. Like you have so much information at your disposal. If you want to change your life, it's possible. Just, it's again, like Cooker was saying, it's mindset. You have to really change the way that you see things and remove a lot of the limitations that we put ourselves or that society puts or people around us, because there's infinite possibilities out there. And I really like how we're ending this episode of Top Signal. It's quite positive. I think it's something that everybody should always remind themselves. It's always up and down, but when you're down, just remind yourself that there's always possibilities and there's infinite options for you. And if you really want it, anything's possible. So thanks for, being a living proof that this path is achievable and anything that you want, because this is your path, is something that you chose, right? So if anybody else decides to go a different way, yeah, you will achieve it. It will be given to you. And there's so many things that we can do in this life, and it's beautiful. So yeah, this is a very wholesome.
This is the best way to end the episode. Wow. Yeah, Cooker, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, just for anybody that's listening, I mean, obviously, if you have the means to listen to this, you have the means to achieve great things, and never give up on yourself.
Let's go. Knowledge is power. Well, thank you so much, Cooker, for joining us on the show today. We really appreciate you, your knowledge, your insights, your presence, and that was deep. That was powerful. So many Clippers, if you're out there, like, wow, you can really cook with this one. This is amazing. And yeah, just a friendly reminder that also, if you're a trader out there, you can always use code TOPSIGNAL to save 20% on DEX trading fees on OKX. And you can check out the full TNCs on the web3.okx.com. Would love for you to join us on our DEX platform. And yeah, hope to see you IRL as well. We're congregating an incredible community of DEX traders, on-chain traders in Art Basel, Miami on December 3rd with the Pudgy Penguins crew. It's going to be a banger. We've got Marriott involved. We've got Wrecked. We've got shout out to Weekly Wisdom. We've got Takeover, who is helping us execute the event. It's going to be incredible. And we're so excited for it. And obviously, we've got a bunch of other cool events on the horizon that we'll be sharing about on the show shortly. Be sure to tune in weekly Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Wait, sorry, 10 a.m. No, 11 a.m. We've been switching the time around. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time. That is 8 a.m. Pacific time. We got it. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Every
Shout
Wednesday.
out chat, shout out Clippers. We love you guys. Shout out to the cat owners too, and the lover of cats.
Yes, and pets and dogs and everyone. That's your furry friends. Today was a special episode. And again, thank you, Cooker, Elizabeth. It's always a pleasure. And we'll see you everybody next week. See you. Thanks to the chat as well. Bye, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Bye.